We all know about Subway, right? I mean, it's the spot you go to that's a fast food joint where you want something fresh and basically, it's just not a greasy fast food burger. But the thing is, it was never that great, but these days it feels like it is riding the bench, a third stringer. Not the choice you want to make, the choice you have to make. So what happened? I mean, Subway was the fast food king. They had a heck of a run. There was even a 400-pound guy who lost like 400 pounds eating Subway sandwiches. But things went downhill. And when they went downhill fast. So today, we are going to dive into why Subway just went down the frickin' drain as fast as it did. But before we do, I want you to smash that subscribe button. And if there's other fast food joints you want me to dive into, let me know in the comments. Let's rewind the clock back a bit to 1965. Meet Fred DeLuca, a young man with big aspirations. He wanted to go to medical school, but he didn't have the money. So he reached out to a family friend named Peter Buck. Now, Peter Buck was, not your average fella, not your simple Joe. This dude was a nuclear physicist, and he didn't just loan Fred the cash. No. He drove him from Connecticut to Maine to check out a sandwich shop. Then, Pete's Super Submarine Sandwich Shop was born. And it started to do well from day one. They sold 300 sandwiches that first day. But here's the thing. The name just wasn't really jiving. It was kind of throwing people off. Like, Pete's Super Submarines? Like, are you selling, naval destroyer equipment? What's going on? So they pivoted to Subway. And the rest, as they say, is history. By the time 1974 rolled around, Subway was all about franchising. When they opened up their first location in California, it was game on. Next thing you know, they went international with locations in Bahrain, Great Britain, UK. By 1997, they had 16,000 locations. That is insane. Maybe you've heard of one of their more innovative sandwiches, like the BMT. The sandwich you order when you say, I'll take everything you got, because I'm here to eat my feelings. And it wasn't just sandwiches that they were working on. In the early 90s, they were pioneers of the whole value meal game. They introduced a 6-inch sandwich that was literally sold for snack prices, and people loved it because it hit like an actual meal. But it was not going to stay all sunshine and sandwiches forever. In the early 2000s, Subway's big break came with a man named Jared Fogle. Subway eats fresh. This guy lost 245 pounds eating Subway. Each day, he stuck to a diet of eating 2 subs, chips, and a Diet Coke, and he lost all that weight. The story was automatically inspiring. Subway made him the face of the brand, and their revenue tripled, and they were on top of the world until they weren't. Things go a little sideways. Turns out Jared Fogle wasn't exactly the lovable, relatable guy who was pushing a health agenda. Pretty much that all came crashing down when the FBI crashed through his front door and hit him with some pretty horrific charges. He went to prison, and Jared Fogle became the man Subway longed to forget. But that wasn't all of it. No. They got hit with hepatitis A charges. In 2011, a teenager in Australia posted a video that went viral because it turns out his footlong sub was only 11 inches.
It led Subway to issue a statement saying the name footlong is, quote, a descriptive name for the sub sold in Subway restaurants and not intended to be a measurement of length.
Whoops. In 2017, they were hit with a lawsuit saying that their chicken wasn't technically chicken. And then in 2020, Ireland, the country, declared that their bread could not legally be called bread because it had too much sugar in it. That's a rough road. Let's fast forward to today and Subway's latest problem. Turns out there are people making videos of themselves in their car eating a whole footlong to themselves. the whole stand by themselves. And this is freaking Subway out because they've spent decades building their brand as a healthy alternative towards traditional fast food. Turns out people need a reminder, maybe a warning label, that eating 12 inches of sandwich is not good for the old bod. Regardless, Subway's got to spin this one now too. So what's Subway's strategy moving forward? Well, it turns out starting in 2021, they've done a new campaign called the Eat Fresh Refresh, where they basically go back to their basics of what makes Subway different than the fast food burgers. Fresh, quick, healthy. But you look at the books and it tells a different story. They're lagging behind McDonald's in sales, and there's still people out there making those videos of taking a full foot long to the dome in their car. So, what do you guys think? Are you still Team Subway, or has the sub sunk to the bottom of the ocean? Let me know in the comments. Oh, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Let me know the next thing I should dive into in this crazy, outrageous world of fast food.